because I just left a church today, and it's kind of the same stigma. I heard that in the message. You know, you're not praying enough. If you, you know, the demons that you have, you should be able to pray them away.
Right.
You know, but there's different forms of prayer, number one. And so if you don't understand those different forms of prayer, then you don't know how to communicate what you need to get out. You know, what needs to get out. So, but I do advise, you know, anybody, seek wise counsel. You know, I don't care who it is. Just seek somebody that's going to provide some sort of wisdom, some sort of understanding in that terms. Even if they just listen, because sometimes you can.
Sometimes you just need to listen.
Because you can talk yourself through something.
Right.
Just with the right ear.
A lot of times you can. Yeah.
That energy in the room is impactful. You know, so.
So wise counsel, and you know, you can talk yourself through something. Yeah, that's huge. So with that 2-year or 3-year situation, like what was like kind of that final tipping point?
The final moment for me, and it wasn't even the abuse.
Okay.
The last straw for me was my daughter and I. She was Alicia. She was like 2. She was we were at my grandmother's house, and my grandmother always had a lot of people, all family out meet up at grandma's house. Right. And my daughter was playing, just normal playing, running around the house, and one of my aunts, she had a big laugh. You know, she laughed loudly, and when she laughed, my daughter began to shake and hide.
Oh wow!
And I saw that. Nobody else saw it. I don't think. You know, if someone saw it, they never said anything. But I saw that, and I was like, you know, that's what did it for me. I was like, I gotta go. Right. You know, and I didn't know how I was gonna go or what, you know, but I just knew I had to go.
So your daughter was basically suffering from PTSD from being around and in that situation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that people do say, you'll do more for other people, which is the reason why you stayed, and it seemed like the reason why you left too.
Yeah.
Because you do more for other people than you do for yourself.
Yeah, because
a lot of people will.
In my mind, I would have, at that time, and just being totally transparent, he could have killed me. And that would have been well worth it. In all honesty.
Okay.
You know, and I meet women today. I hear stories to just last Friday, you know, of a young woman, and she was experiencing something similar, and I had to talk to the family member. I said, hey, you know, she don't care one way or the other. Because right now she's empty.
Right.
She's
numb. Yeah.
You know, so whether he kills her today or he kills her tomorrow, in her mind right now, it's okay. That's all she has.
Right.
You know,
so is it and I'm just trying to, you know, just think out loud. I've never been in that situation, so
that's fine.
you know, thankfully. But like, so is it a situation of like, so I'm just trying to, you know, talk through it. Is it a hopelessness thing? Is it feel like you don't have any hope, or is it just you've kind of gotten used to it, or what is it? Okay,
you've given up. What is it about me that put me in this situation where I'm being damned?
Gotcha.
You know, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. You know, there was no refuge. Because even when I would go to family, certain family, they'll say, well, what did you do?
Okay.
You know, or
so blaming you.
He's a good man, you know, that whole thing. And it's why I'm sitting back, I'm thinking about it, but I'm also, I used to watch What's Love Got to Do with It, like relentlessly.
Right.
What's Love Got to Do with It in Color Purple?
Gotcha.
Because I was in the mindset of stealing. And I was dealing with family members like Tina Turner's mother.
Gotcha.
You know, and it was like, and he was a great provider for our child. But when it came to my personal care or our personal relationship, there was no intimacy, no love there. You know, and that was something that he'd experienced as a child. He watched his father beat his mom. You know, and his mother and his aunt was like the people that helped me get away from him.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow. So hold on. Let's say that back. So it was his family that helped more than your family.
Yeah, I was living with him at the time. I left home at 17. I was 17 and pregnant, like the show.
All right.
But I left home at 17. I moved in with him, and it was mainly because of different things that I talk about in my book that I'd experienced as a child with my family.
Okay.
So he was like, he'd be damned if his daughter
Right.
went through that, so you come with me.
Right.
So when I got there, I knew that it wasn't going to be okay. I knew that it wasn't going to be okay, but it wasn't about me anymore. So when I was growing up as a young woman, when you have children, it's no longer about you. That's what you're taught.
Right.
Your life is no longer your own.
Yep.
Life is not about you anymore. It's just about the baby.
Right.
So all your feelings, all your wants and hopes and dreams, that's no longer important anymore.
Right.
It's totally about the kid.
Right.
And I took on that persona. It's not about me, So yeah, his mom, she was something else. She was something else. She was like, at first she didn't like me because I was young and her son was older than I was.
Okay.
And so she thought I was just this fast, little girl that trapped her son.
Gotcha.
It wasn't until my daughter was like 15 years old till she told me
Gotcha.
that she had understood the truth finally.
Right.
And I was like, really? How you doing? I always loved you. But she would tell me things like, Junior, you're not ready for a family. And I'm a kid. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Right.
And then she would tell me stories. She's like, every bruise or welt on my body, his daddy put there.
Oh, wow.
She would say things like that, and I'd be like,
yeah.
And they would tell me stories about, his family was really big on storytelling, but they were the most loving group of people that I really have experienced, like immediate family that loved each other, that was there for one another, that laughed, the mother laughed and played with the kids. And I didn't know nursery rhymes like that, so she would sing like these little nursery rhymes, Little Red Caboose, and I sing it now to my children because I learned it from her. But she would teach me things, and ultimately she let me know, hey, you gotta get it in here, what you about to do, because y'all are gonna kill each other.
Right.
He's gonna hurt you. Well, when are you gonna wake up and see that? And I didn't know how to leave until she taught me what to do.
Gotcha. Okay. So and just there's a lot to unpack there.
There's a lot.
But yeah, just I'm gonna go two different ways with it. So this go. So when you become a parent, I think just in general, but especially for women, for ladies, when you become a parent, it's like I think they go one or two ways. Like I think in general, it's like it's all about the kid, or they just become 100% selfish and just drop the kids off for somebody else. But I think there's got to be that balance.
Yeah.
Because you've got to still know that you're your own being, along with being a mother. But the other thing is, like, so anybody that's dealing with domestic abuse, domestic violence, it's not always that the family they came from is like that grumpy, horrible family. Sometimes it's, they had, obviously some love in that household.
Yeah.
But it's still, there's those underlying issues.
Underlying issues that's not being addressed.
Right.
And, that's pretty much the premise of the book, is to highlight different forms of trauma. Things that we don't see as an issue because it's everyday life.
Yeah.
It's
become
our
normalized.
dynamics.
Yeah.
So this is our family dynamics, and this is how we deal with it, and this is what we do. That does not always mean that it's the healthiest. It doesn't always mean that it's right. It doesn't always mean that it's wrong, But what was good for my cousin next to me was very traumatic for me.
Right.
Which was, if he was able to cope with it, I was absolutely frantic about it. So it varies by person.
Right.
So trauma is not always trauma is never one way.
No.
You know, trauma is never one way.
And it's never, you can't always put it in a box. Hey, it's gonna be this or this. Nah, it's like I said, that's really personalized to whatever. I mean, everybody has their own experiences they're bringing to the table, and you never know what you might say or do that triggers the other person. Even though I guess you're not supposed to say triggered anymore. Like, that's like one of those words that trigger people.
Trigger.
But
triggers.
yeah, trigger. But yeah, okay. So so a lot of that stuff. I mean, they were a loving family, but it had become normalized. The issues has become, just a part of the normal.
We don't talk about that.
Right.
And
that's all, there's a lot of that though.
Yeah.
A lot of things that I would say definitely in our community that we just don't talk about.
We don't talk about that.
Yep.
We don't ask that question.
Right.
This is the way you're supposed to be.
Right.
And I was always raised to put on a mask.
Okay. Yep.
And I'm gonna say that in a way. Let me clarify. Whatever you have going on in your household, you're not supposed to look like it.
Right.
So when I stepped out my house, I was the most well put together, seemingly okay, saddest woman that you would ever know. I was broken, I was glass inside.
Yeah.
But the outside of me was totally intact.
Yeah.
I was
like
the girl that you want to be around.
Yep.
And I was falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
For
a lot of years. Because we were taught that you had to make sure that you were well. The way we dealt with things was to be well groomed, to be well educated, to be well spoken, to go to church, to be active in the community. These are the things that were important. Your feelings will change if you do this.
Right. So it's more about what you look like to the outside world than what was going on inside. And true to that, I mean, especially when you go to church, you better put on that face like everything. Yeah.
Okay, and you better sing in that choir. You better march down that aisle like you know what you're doing.
And if you didn't know the words to the song, you better say watermelon, because that watermelon it makes it look like you know what you're saying.
Yeah.
When you have no clue what the words to the song is. Like I did not go to rehearsal this week. But that's
I remember being in the front row because we were like 6 or 7, so it was in the front row, myself, and next to me was Shayla, not Shayla, her sister. Oh, I can't think of her name, but it was Shan, her, and then Shayla.
Okay.
But I was standing we would be standing next to each other, and she would whisper the words to me, and she would be smiling, but she would be whispering the words to me, and I'm like, oh. No. And Aunt Josephine was directing the choir, so if you got your great aunt directing the choir and you don't know the words,
you better
you was
fake
playing,
it. Yep.
Okay, yeah, right.
Oh my God.
But I remember that clearly. And then after we would come down, we were supposed to march down out of the choir. Guys. I would literally step to the side and go to your grandfather and get my candy.
Mary Jane.
Yeah, Mary Jane. I would go over there and I'd get back in there and they were just shaking their head at me every time. But he would always make sure he gave it to me though. He saw my effort.
My granddad always had a
man in 2 pockets. In 2 pockets full of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was one, I used to sneak all types of candies and whatever that I never touched them. You do not touch the Mary Jane.
You better not touch the Mary Jane.
That Mary Jane candy was that was the coveted.
Yes, but it's so good, man. I'm talking about once you get to that peanut butter part, you're in heaven.
They were good, but circle back around. But that was also, but that was the thing. Like you had to put on that facade. Everything's okay when inside, you get it crumbling.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're saying, so just to go back to it, so your daughter was scared of a laugh.
Yeah, a laugh.
And that was your tipping point to say, I'm out.
I'm out.
Can't do this anymore.
Yeah. I had no direction.
I was gonna say, what steps did you take next after that? If somebody's watching this and like, okay, I understand that I gotta go. Like, what was your next step?
Man, I'm gonna tell you.